Yi Yang traveled through time to a country called the Holy Dynasty. But, who will tell him? What the hell is the male concubine? Looking at the feminine-looking and slender man in the bronze mirror, Yi Yang really felt like vomiting blood. Fortunately, among the misfortunes, the original owner failed in the fight for favor and was ignored by the emperor, which made Yi Yang feel a little relieved. As a straight man, he couldn't accept that his significant other was a man. So, he had nothing to do and spent all day working on various money-making models in his palace. Later, the tall and majestic young emperor said to Yi Yang, "Whatever you want, as long as you want it, I will give it to you." Yi Yang opened his eyes as bright as stars and said with a look of expectation, "Then I won't speak secretly, I just want 2 girls." So that night, Yi Yang was favored by the emperor. Yi Yang. Part 1. Male concubine. So thirsty. So good I want to drink water. Yi Yang felt that his lips were dry and cracked, his throat was smoking, and his whole body was sore with unbearable pain at the slightest movement. Damn it! Did I forget to close the window last night? He closed his eyes and touched his forehead. As he thought, he had a cold and a fever. He pushed himself up and wanted to get up and look for ibuprofen, nonsteroidal anti-inflammatory drug, in the drawer, but when he opened his eyes, he was shocked by what he saw. The elegant gauze curtains, pure mahogany tables and chairs, and antique carved doors and windows all told him truly that this was not his nest. Dream? His groggy brain told him that he was indeed dreaming. Well, it must be a dream. I am in such good health. How could I catch a cold so easily? Deceiving himself. He fell down and prepared to sleep for a while, but at this moment, a memory that did not belong to him flooded into his mind, causing him to wail in pain and fainted. In the dream, Yi Yang watched the life and past of the original owner as a spectator. The original owner, also named Yi Yang, was the concubine of the Yi family. Because his mother was a maid, his status in the family was very low, and even some servants dared to bully him. He endured the humiliation and vowed to get rid of such a family. Finally, 3 years ago, he got this opportunity. The emperor selected him for his outstanding appearance. After entering the palace, he was favored by the emperor because of his beauty. In that year, he was almost favored by the emperor. I thought he would continue to be so favored, but the emperor was always surrounded by beauties. By chance, a beautiful eunuch caught the emperor's eye, and the emperor began to neglect Yi Yang. Just like this, day after day, the emperor who came every day never came to Jinyang Palace again. Yi Yang guarded the empty house for 2 years. Amidst all kinds of ridicule, Yi Yang finally fell ill and died, which was an advantage to Yi Yang who had traveled through time. Yi Yang, who had traveled through time, opened his eyes and was speechless. As the author, Yi Yang very calmly accepted the fact that he had traveled through time. Anyway, as an orphan, his life would be the same everywhere, but what the hell is the male concubine? How could a man be with a man? Yi Yang, who was born under a red flag and grew up in the spring breeze, shook his head with goosebumps and was shivering. Then he thought that the emperor no longer favored the original owner, and he felt a little relieved. He pushed himself up with difficulty, got out of bed, poured a glass of water and drank it, which slightly soothed his smoking throat. Looking up, there happened to be a bronze mirror opposite, reflecting his current figure. I saw that the original owner's skin was white and tender, but not as pale as a disease, but as crystal clear and flawless as jade, and her delicate eyebrows were like flying swords, delicate yet heroic. The handsome face, indistinguishable from male to female, is so mesmerizing. No wonder he was able to captivate the emperor in the first place. With his appearance, he was a huge hit in his time. It's a pity that he was born in the wrong era. Master, are you up? A male-female voice suddenly came from behind, successfully attracting Yi Yang's attention. He looked back and saw a handsome young man looking at him with surprise on his face. Xiao Doubting, the slave brought to the palace from the Yi family by the original owner, and also the person most loyal to the original owner. During this period of time, the original owner became increasingly depressed, and the saddest thing was the little dudin in front of him. Xiao Doubting saw Yi Yang getting up and his face looked much better than yesterday. He cried with joy and said, "Master, you can finally get out of bed." This made Yi Yang a little touched. He stepped forward and patted Xiao Doubting on the shoulder and said with a smile, "It's okay. I will live a good life for myself in the future and live a different and wonderful life." Thinking of the bunch of graceful and gorgeous beauties of all kinds in the harem, Yi Yang's distasteful temperament is clearly revealed. "Master, if you think so, Xiao Doubting will have no regrets even if he dies." Xiao Doubting's eyes were covered with mist. If it weren't for the difference between superiority and inferiority, he might have hugged Yi Yang and cried bitterly. These days were too hard for him. Seeing his master getting thinner and thinner every day, his heart felt like a knife being cut. Death means death. These words are so unlucky. Don't say this word again in the future. Yi Yang imitated the original owner and deliberately kept a straight face, successfully shutting up Xiao Doubting. Yes, these are unlucky words. Little Doubting will never say them again in the future. Little Doubting quickly covered his mouth and showed it with his actions. Because his body was still very weak, Yi Yang couldn't stand any longer. He sat at the table and began to think about his future life. Anyway, the emperor has not been here for 2 years, which proves that he will not come to his Jinyang palace in the future. So, from now on in this Jinyang palace, he will be the sole ruler and the only one with the power. Then he can just do whatever he wants? He. When he thought that the people around him were either men or eunuchs, Yi Yang wanted to hit the wall. Why not assign him 2 maids? It doesn't matter whether she looks good or not, as long as she's a woman. Why do you want to enter the palace? Isn't it good to be in the Yi family? Why do you have to enter the palace? Yi Yang was so angry that he wanted to vomit blood when he thought about the original owner's stupid decision. When he complained that the original owner was as stupid as a pig. Xiao Doubting brought dark Chinese medicine from the imperial pharmacy and asked him to drink it. Although he hated drinking traditional Chinese medicine the most in his life, he still held his nose and drank the medicine because he didn't want to die. After drinking the medicine, Yi Yang stood up and opened the window. Suddenly, bright sunlight poured in and warmed the whole room. "Master, no, you are weak now, so don't let the wind blow." Xiao Doubting, who was waiting on the side, rushed over and was about to close the window. "No, I'm sick now. The room must be ventilated, and air circulated. Breathing fresh air will help strengthen the body's resistance." Yi Yang stopped Xiao Doubting, who wanted to close the window. If you live in a dark room for a long time, you may become sick even if you are not sick. Why did the original owner die? Most of the reason was because the doors and windows were closed tightly for a long time, causing the room to be dark and depressing. If things go on like this, even healthy people will get sick from being locked up, let alone the original owner who is already terminally ill. What is resistance? Xiao Doubting asked with curious eyes open. How to explain this? The so-called resistance refers to the division of labor and close cooperation between various systems of the human body under the control of the central nervous system to ensure the normal progress of human life activities. But if he says this, Xiao Doubting will definitely ask, what is the central nervous system? What is the division of labor and cooperation among the various systems of the human body? Therefore, to avoid such endless questions and answers, Yi Yang wisely chose not to answer. So, Yi Yang coughed deliberately, successfully diverting Xiao Doubting's attention. Master, you must have caught the wind. I'll close the window now. Xiao Doubting simply thought that Yi Yang had caught the cold wind, so he hurriedly ran to close the window. Yi Yang held his forehead, but he didn't go there because he felt uncomfortable all over. He sat down at the table to relax for a while, and when he had strength, he got up and walked out of the room.